Hi, everyone. My name is Phyllis Y. Whitley. If you have been spiritually victimized or traumatized, welcome to Spiritology Live, where I bring my #1 Amazon bestseller book to life. Yes, each episode will be a raw, spiritual, metaphysical, and holistic space of consciousness for self-healing. As you learn how to break your religious shackles so you can master and manifest your promised land today. Let's go. Hi, everyone. Let's give a shout out to Sheeta from Texas. Yes, Texas. You heard the quote, everything is bigger in Texas. Even the hearts. So one of my mentees asked the question, breaking generational curse and what a person goes through spiritually while that is occurring. I had to break it down. And I broke it down to how can I break free and win the battle of generational curses. This is episode 28. I am grateful. I am thankful that I'm here today with you. And if one of you got something out of any of my podcasts, please share and leave your testimony. But I'm grateful because if I'm just here to drop one seed, that one seed might drop 1,000,000. Well, what can I say? The last couple of weeks have been on topics that was divinely given through the grace of God. Yes, I didn't mention the last podcast. I didn't listen, and my birthday week happened to have been in August. And no, I didn't get the shirt I need to for the birthdays. I created those, so y'all need to check those out. And I got to get the shirt. But I had a break, a vacation, a mini vacation for my birthday month. And how do I spend my breaks? Sometimes I go out of the state. Most of the time, I just put my house in total order because it's already in order. Clean out the clutter. Hello, y'all know me for that. But I usually am just like a car that goes up to the filling station and get gas. Yes, that's when I really, really get into just being in my quiet time with God. So I did it for a week, no interruptions, and I did have time. That's really my self-care. With that being said, I had to come back. I had to come back to work. And I don't want to say this is work. I had to come back to my calling, showing you what the promised land is, how to get there, what it's about, how to stay there. And we are going to learn about generational curses. First, let's look at it. According to the Gospel Coalition, a generational curse describes the multiplying effects on a person from things that their ancestors did. Woo! Believed or practiced in the past, along with the consequences of an ancestor's action, belief, and sin being passed down. That's generational curses. Some of you say, I don't believe in that. Really? My theory is you never know who you are till you go back and find out where you came from. And I will tell you, I know you're saying, well, how am I going to find out about someone where Uncle so-and-so did? Well, let me just say this, and this is no offense to any communities out there. I am a believer that God loves everyone, everybody, despite what we do with our flesh. Some of us cater to our flesh. We have no idea there's a spiritual side to us. That's what I'm here for. So with that being said, generational curses. Yes. If you're wondering why your son rather go in his sister's room and put on how high heel shoes? Well, you need to go back. Chances are that great, 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 great Uncle Ben was putting on dresses. I don't know about high heel shoes, depending upon what decade it was. Yes. Hmm. Or do you have one of those sons that go in and out of jail? Well, chances are that great, great, great uncle Rob was probably going back and forth to the jailhouse. Okay, well, how about my daughter? If you have a daughter who literally just run to every and any man for love, chances are you don't have to go far back. Look in the mirror. Did you do that? Did she grow up with you running around and every time you turn around she said, "Here go your new daddy"? And where did you get it from? It can go back to great 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 grandma who had 6 or 12 kids, but each one of them was from a different father. Well, okay. Well, Miss P, that's not right. I mean, I don't have none of those problems. Well, let's go look at little Timmy, little Raheem, little Sharonda. They don't like school. Maybe that go way back, and it can, to when your master didn't allow anyone to read. Yes, this can go back to slavery. So when your ancestors became free slave, they didn't want to read either because it was installed in them and they just passed it down. How did they pass it down? They never brought books home. Or should I say, they never went to the library, never bought a magazine. You never seen your parents read. But yet you send them to school and say you have to learn. Those curses can come all the way down to you. So we are not here to blame everything back way in slavery or great great grandma. We're looking at you. How about incest? Well, Miss P, I was abused, and come to find out, my father abused everybody, every girl that my mother had. I heard this before. I'm being raw here. I have heard this from people. Well, chances are that great, 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 great granddaddy was probably molested himself. And he just carried the seed. This is deep. I know some of y'all say, you know what, I just can't take it. Okay, well, let's go something light. Let's go something what you would call light. I just don't seem to carry money around. I can't save it. I mean, I'm just, oh my goodness. I didn't file bankruptcy one time. I filed it 3 times or whatever. I just don't know how to. I just stay in debt. I just owe the world. Chances are, back in the days, your great grandpapa owed everybody in the community. He was a con. Didn't pay nobody back. Well, what do this have to do with nickels and dimes? I'm going to tell you what it has to do. Generational curses do go down. That's why you have to leave a legacy. You're going to leave a legacy whether you like to or want to or not. Unfortunately, the Black race, those who have endured slavery, ancestors endured slavery, unfortunately, whether you in the United States or the Caribbean islands or Cuba or wherever they had slavery, unfortunately, a lot of that did go down and pass down. Not knocking anybody. But you look at your son and say, I just don't get it. Some of you look at your daughters and you say, I just don't understand her mental capacity. And some of you don't have to go far because Aunt Lenona is crazy. Great aunt, they call her loony. Why do you think they call her loony? Great, 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 great grandmama. They always said something wasn't right up there. It passes down to a legacy. You must change it. People want to know. Let me tell you something. You must change it. I want you to know this. Remember the Israelites? And I know I keep going to them. They made idols. They served other gods. If you really want to get God teed, peed, or pissed, go ahead and start worshiping other gods. Oh, Miss P, I don't do that. I do not worship. I don't get on my knees for any statues and whatever. And yes, you do. Because guess what? You got pictures of Christ all in your house, and you don't even know who that is. Christ the picture that you had don't even look like you. Yes, you do. You swear by the cross you wear. I have nothing against cross, beautiful jewelry. But some people swear by, I gotta have my cross on. I have that cross is handmade. The only power it has is you. The statue that people worship, the only power it has is you. If you are given the statue power. When there's hurricanes and tsunamis, those statues are gone. You see people praying for us, help me, and they are gone. They go in the water. They go under the ground. They blow up the whatever you want to call it, tornado. Just lift them up. And what are you doing? You stand up there looking. Man made that. Nothing got power but you. Now, if you really don't want to believe that, then go ahead and do what you normally do. If it's working for you, then that's good. This is for those people who say, I am tired. I see evidence. God says you should know them by their fruit. And let me tell you something. If you are not giving good fruit, that's a generational curse. It's going to go down to the next generation. Remember Mark 11:13. And seeing from afar a fig tree having leaf, he went, who was he? Jesus went to see if perhaps he would find something on it. Something on it. But when he came to it, he found nothing. And guess what? He cursed the fig tree. Jesus cursed the fig tree. It was barren. Why? It had no fruit. And I'm talking about good fruit. Because generational curses are, I call them seeds. But see, you have to ask yourself, when God looks at you, what is he looking at? Do you have nothing? What did you do? Are you answering your call? We talked about that last week. Do you confess that you are a Christian, or you are a Muslim, or you are a whatever? It's so many different religions out there. What do you confess? I'm talking about Christianity right now. Are you showing any fruit? Are those fruits coming from your ancestors? The fruit of ignorance. The fruit is, I don't want to go to school and I don't want to learn. Bobby don't want to learn today. You know what you have to do? Do you understand? And those curses can be sickness. Well, the doctor said that I have high blood pressure, but it was all right because my mother had high blood pressure. Great grandmama had high blood pressure. And did I tell you that my grandpappy, he actually had diabetes? I know I didn't say that right. Now, I'm not teasing y'all because my parents had this. But you know what? I didn't let that fruit come down to me. Every time I went to the doctor in my 20s and 30s and 40s, I'm telling my age, they said, really when I got probably early 40s, and they kept saying, well, when you write down your history, well, your mother had so-and-so. Well, you got down here, so-and-so had a stroke. I said, so? Well, you need the so and so. I said, I do understand that because let me tell you something. The first way, the first avenue to stop things, especially when it's coming is dealing with your health, is you literally have to stop eating the same food. You at the same table. So you're gonna cook like grandma and grandpa and mama and daddy. And look what you're bringing down. Ask yourself. I'm not even gonna call no different things because everybody out there have certain things they allergic to. You may be allergic to seafood, and everybody allergic to seafood. You keep on eating it. I remember this girl looking at me, one of my coworkers, and her face was blowing up, and she said, "Oh, I know it's all right. I'm gonna take my pill, but I love my seafood." You know the curse? You know what I'm talking about? You don't have to be barren with life. You understand? When God come and visit you in the night hour, yes, those of you know what I'm talking about, all the early morning, what is he seeing? Let me tell you something. Stop worshiping yourself. That's one of the biggest things. Stop worshiping outside of yourself, excuse me. And I should say yourself. Stop it. Curses. Curses that God had put on the Israelites. You can make curses. Let's go past slavery. How cursed were some of us in Africa when they came and got us? Go read your history. The masses of black people in Africa was literally worshiping everything but God. God can put a stop to that real quick. You worship other gods, and then when God said, okay, no problem. I'm going to sit back here. We're going to show you something. I'm going to mess up your whole generation and the next generation. And oh my goodness, slavery did do that. Don't make idols for yourself. That's one of the biggest generational curses. Who did your great aunt, and I go to aunts because everybody close, it can happen like that. But your great grandmother or your great grandfather, what did they teach you about God? What did they teach you? You have to be careful of what you're bringing into your generation, your kids. You have to discipline your kids. I know they stopped at a point when I know my daughter was born and it was like, oh, you abusing your child once you spanked them. And I said, oh, no, not up in this house. And my daughter knew when we walked out in the street and she did something bad. I just gave her that one eye look. You better wait a minute. Well, my great grandmother didn't do this and she didn't do that. That's why you probably listening to this from a jail. I say that with love because that should be your goal to come out of. Now you know how to break the cycle. How do you break the cycle? Stop living the same way as your parents did. Hey, wait a minute. How do I do that? Here go a quick story. The story it was twins. Their father was an alcoholic, lived a bad life. And you know what? They grew up and one of them became an alcoholic. The other one became a lawyer. And someone asked them, they went to each one of them and they asked the son that became an alcoholic, they said, why are you an alcoholic? And they said, well, because my father was one. Then they went and they asked the one who was a lawyer. They said, why are you a lawyer? And they said, well, because my father was an alcoholic and I already knew that I didn't want to be like him. Do you understand what I'm saying? And some of y'all have uncles and aunts that's around you right now that you shouldn't be taking your kids to and leaving them there. Because they doing stuff behind your back and they going to go put it on your kids. I'm not telling you, don't come to me saying, Miss P said, I can't bring my child here. It's even your neighborhood. Be careful who your kids keep company with. And also, how about, let me tell you something. FYI, be careful who you marry and have kids from. Now, some of you, I'm talking about Christians here. So I'm talking about marriage. And some of you who say, I just don't believe in marriage. I can't, I'm not mad at you, but you know what I'm going to say to you? You better be careful in your choice. You careful with where you put your money at, I hope. Careful with bank. You careful with school you go to. You careful with job you go to. But why are you not careful with that? You don't be careful when you pick somebody. Oh my goodness, it was love at first sight. Oh my goodness, Miss P, I just feel all warm inside, and oh, I didn't know what to do. That was all flesh. What is your spirit saying about that person? And you know why I say this? You probably say, what does it matter? Because when you marry someone or you get into a relationship with somebody, chances are you are pulling in their generational curses. You need to go and find out what that man or that woman, great grandmother or great granddaddy was doing. What slavery? Didn't you say something about slavery? What did it have to do with it? Yeah, you need to go back and you need to see what you need to know your history. You need to learn about slavery and you need to learn it so you can understand the roots that come from that, the roots or the fruits that is manifested from slavery. Because to this date, it was slavery, but then it was also the making of a slave to keep you in slave mentality. Keep you in slavery mentality. And sometimes even to this day, you meet people and you be like, God, and they literally keep the same mentality. They believe you have to please somebody outside of you that don't look like you. Or they spend money on weaves down to your ankle because you want to look like the Dove lady. Or you run around and you're a black man and you want the Dove lady and you feel like, oh, if I get that, I prove that I belong here. Don't do that. If you do anything, I ain't got nothing against you wearing weaves, but don't do it because you're trying to look like somebody else. I have nothing to do with you going out of your race, but don't do it because you think you arrived. Do you understand the generational curses that come out here? It keeps you in a slavery mentality that you think you have to or someone owes you. No one owes you nothing, but you need to go ahead and owe yourself something. Owe yourself, give yourself the chance to find out where you came from so you know how to deal with today. So you can say, Mama did this, Mama did. Go back and look at even the sickness that they had. When you go back and learn, then you can say, okay, well, I'm not going to do that. Okay, they took the book out of, they didn't want slaves to read books. And you know what? Nobody reads books in my family. Change it. Start reading. Give it to your kids. Find out what's going on in your spouse, the generational curses. You better know. Because chances are is that if that man is beating you upside your head, I guarantee you, grandpappy was beating up grandmama. And then, he'll look at you and say, well, I would never do that, honey. Don't believe the hype. I'm not saying run away. I'm saying at least you understand, at least you know what you're getting yourself into. First sign, say you got to go. First sign of abuse, you got to go. You want to be fruitful. That's what God said. Now we know the curses can be all kind of things. It's usually satisfying not only the flesh, worshiping outside of yourself, and it's just not a blessing. And if you want to know more about the curses, hey, in Deuteronomy 28:15, God said, but it shall come to pass if you do not obey the voice of the Lord, all these curses will come upon you and overtake you. Yes, And see, people say, well, you know what? God don't do this. The devil do it. Stop, 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 stop. And all of you who know me, stop blaming everything on the devil. I have not seen him yet with the red horns, okay? I know the church live off of that because they don't know what to say to you. Look at yourself, like Michael Jackson said, the man in the mirror. You choose what curse you're going to let go down to your next generation. You change the legacy. You. Well, I mean, they had no, 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 no. You don't need to hear. Remember, I told you about that. You don't need to hear that. I don't care what the doctors tell you. I don't care if 3 people had something. I've been through something worse than that, and nobody in my family got sick like I did a couple years ago, and I had to turn it around. I said, never again. They talk about remission. I said, no, ain't gonna be no remission. Ain't no re in this. Ain't nothing going back around. Because I had to literally say, hey, wait a minute, let me take the food off my table that is not making me right. We're going to talk about that next week. God wants you to obey his voice, but you can't obey it if you don't hear it. And you can't hear his voice unless you have a relationship with him. Literally, that is one of the actions you take. Hearing what God said. Hearing what God said, don't go down that road. Hearing God say to you, don't marry that person. Hearing what God says to a prophet. Didn't that prophet tell you to stay away from that person? You didn't listen. You have to hear him. And when he tells you to listen to his voice and observe what he's saying to you, his commandments, he talks about the laws. God made universal laws out there. If you don't believe me, I'm not telling you to do so. Jump from a flight of stairs, maybe 50, and see if you fly up in the air like Superman. It ain't gonna happen. Everything is already in place. It's the reason why the sun don't come down and hit you on the head. It's the reason why the rain come from the sky and not from the ground. You understand what I'm saying? God will allow these things to come upon you because the universe is all his. He knows what's going on. He know about the curse. He know about the blessing. I don't want to hurt your feelings. But now we know about the curses. You're not going to be like your mama. You need to know your history. You need to talk to that aunt or uncle that's 90 something or even 100, and they'll tell you all kinds of stuff that was happening in the family. Break those ties that you see that your family carry around, which are really fruits that are manifested. Say, I'm not going to do it. Nobody in your family graduated from college. Say, I'm not going to do it. It ain't going to be me. Everybody in your family is walking around and they literally, none of the females have ever married. Stop it. Now, I have nothing to do with things happen, but you need to know who you get ready to marry. You need to know who is dropping the seed in you, and hopefully that's your husband. And men, you better be careful when you choose a wife. That's why God said, listen, a man is blessed when he chooses the right wife. He is. He obtained favor from the Lord. That's why you see these men and even pastors. It takes one woman to break and tear down your whole little kingdom. Only one woman. You better know. If a mother was an alcoholic, you better find out. I'm not telling you to say, okay, I don't want to have nothing to do with you, but I am telling you that y'all need to look at that, because what happens when she get depressed? What happens when things are not going right with her? Is she going to go to alcohol? If auntie was the biggest whore on the block, your daughter, and you walking around and you got a 2-year-old, or excuse me, maybe a 4-year-old, and you got her in booty shorts and you think that's cute, you just setting her up. You understand? I know I tell jokes out there, but I want you to listen closely. How do you break the curse? Stop living like your parents. Know your history. Know it. Even those of you who say, well, I am not a Black American whose ancestors was in slavery. But your ancestors might be the masters. And if they're the masters, you need to know that, because that might be the reason why you're so prejudiced. That's why you don't like your coffee black. Do you understand? You got to know why you have a certain anger. What makes you angry? Why you don't like people? Generational curses can be broken. Don't bring it down. You can stop it. Be the first to stop it. Say, oh, no, 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 no. The bus stop here. Everybody going to be going to school. Everybody going to go to college. Oh, no, everybody's going to, especially if you don't go to college, specialize in something. We're not going to have that. Especially with your sons. You think it's beautiful that your son go and drop his seed in every woman on every avenue. That's not beautiful. But you know what it is? It's when you take that son. I don't care if you don't have a father in the home. Mothers, listen up. Single mothers, you sit back and you teach that boy that his seed is special. God gave it to him so he can multiply. And he got to be careful where he lay that seed at. Because it's unfair. He's just going to drop his seed, and then they're going to just drop this seed, and it's not even going to grow before it will become a fig tree, and it will be cursed. Because God already got the laws of the universe out there, waiting for you to mess up. Because he give you a chance. He have everything in his manuscript. Now look at the blessings. Let's look at the blessings. What are the blessings are doing? It's the opposite of the curses. You want to change things so your family is blessed coming in and blessed going out. You know what I'm saying? Deuteronomy 28:2. And all these blessings shall come upon you and overtake you because you obey the voice of the Lord your God. You have to know him. You have to hear him. You have to have a relationship with him. He just wants you to believe. I know the church tell you, well, you know you did this, you're no good. Because you are this way, it's a sin. Because you go to the movie, it's a sin. I know you go to the church, that's all you hear is sin. And them same people, you see them just making it and climbing the ladder, and you sitting up there going to church 7 days a week, and you just, you got your legs tied together, you're just not doing anything. I'm celibate. I don't curse. I don't do anything. And yet, you know what's happening? I'm just as poor. I can't help nobody. I'm not making fun of you, but see, this is your leader. Your spiritual leader should teach you better. I'm not telling you to go out there and go haywire with your life, because the Lord, Load, is the laws, LAW. And it's already destined to curse those who go past the law, just like you going down the street and you driving 90 miles per hour. Popo coming to get you. He have the universe set up like that. You choose. He said, you choose this day. Are you going to be blessed or are you going to be cursed? You have no excuse. So you need to know him. You need to talk to him. And you need a prophet in your life. Well, God don't talk to me. Yeah, but he's talking to a lot of prophets out there. And if you got a good prophet, I'm talking about a prophet, I know the prophets have failed us. The church have failed us. There's no prophets out there, really. You know what I'm saying? And that's why everybody is up at 5 o'clock in the morning talking to a psychic. And yes, psychics, I do believe a lot of them are prophets who the church kicked out. And they said, well, I'm going to go over here to the community of the psychics because they accepted me. So I'm not saying that they all bad. But when you know God and you know that you are called to be a prophet and you get the right teaching, is nothing. You don't have to be a psychic and read the basic, the just the outer part of the being. You can be a prophet and read way into their life, and it comes to pass. You should know them by their fruit. Their fruit should be good. You understand what I'm saying? So those are the blessings. And you will see all them blessings. God will bless you and He will take care of your enemies. To sum it up, I hope you found out something. I hope you got something out of this today, because you know what? I'm going to end it with this. John 14:12. And for everybody, I usually get my scriptures from the New King James Version. You can try the other ones. Most assuredly, I say to you, he who believes in me, in the work that I do, he will do also. And greater works than these he will do, because I go to my Father. And you know what God is trying to tell you? Let your work be great. Leave a legacy of greatness, not curses. Do the work it. But you got to believe first. And if you walk around 24 hours believing about my aunt, my uncle put voodoo or curse on me, guess what? That's what you're going to get. You're going to be walking around meditating on curses. Stop it and make a difference. Leave a legacy. Well, I don't want kids, or I don't have any kids. Well, you better leave a legacy. You better leave a legacy to the point that your name is a library one day. You do something for your community. And if you don't want to do nothing, you just cut off your whole generation and nobody will know about your name or nothing. He said, you believe in me, and guess what? Greater works will you do, and those works will be a blessing. So take your eyes and your mind off of the curses. Who cursed me? Or whatever. Just go learn, do your studying, know your history, know where you come from, and I guarantee you will know who you are. And you will know what not to do in the future that caused your family generational curse to come down. We want to thank Sheeta again. She have given me so much to talk about, and I'm going to end it. I'm going to end it right here, right now. I hope I answered all your questions. And if I didn't, I'm telling you, it's in my book. Just remember, when you are going through, at the end of the day, the generational curses will manifest spiritual warfare. But a lot of the spiritual warfare is you living the same way your parents lived. Change it up. Change it up. And don't make it an excuse. Well, my mother or my father or my grandfather did this or lived this way. Stop it. Make a difference. And if you need help, that's when you go and you find your Father God. Thank you for coming to my space. Now go get your promised land. Share me on all social medias. How come? I don't know who you know. Don't miss the opportunity. I give you every week opportunities to get my book called Spiritology on Amazon. You can get it in ACX where you're just listening to it. Oh, I'm telling you, I'm guilty of not literally listening to the whole thing. But what I heard is in somebody else's voice that happened to be from the same place I'm from, the Bronx. And literally, it brings tears to my eyes of what God can do. What's new? What's new is you. When was the last time you gave yourself self-care? If you need some little appetizers, check out my blogs and my newsletter. Join my group. Yes, on Facebook, Whisper Vibes. Look it up. Join it. Yes, you will get all kinds of things from me. I'm telling you, I just give. You have to give, because you know what? It comes right back to me. From my Father. But how did He bless you? Through other people. And I'm just so thankful. I am so grateful. Remember, is loving self is right. You don't want to be wrong. And I know you said, well, last week you said, I don't want to be wrong. Either way, you don't want to be wrong.